Well, there we are. I thought we'd go live a little early today.
Yes, why not?
Absolutely. Indeed. Let me just... Actually, I'm going to move that microphone over there a little bit so that you can see me, why I'd want to do that. There we go. Everybody can admire Nev now. Here we go.
Oh, dear.
There he is.
It's got a bit of suntan from Duxford. Didn't get burnt this time, I'm pleased to say.
Get you. Was the sun factor 1000, was it, in full play?
Well, you'll see on the video that I didn't rub the sun cream in properly. But we'll get to that later on.
Oh dear.
But no, it's been good.
Are we oversharing with the group again, dear?
Yeah, they know all of our medical ailments, don't they?
They do, absolutely. Well, Mazouz expects it, doesn't he? At the end of the day,
fact,
a full update.
That's why he's so early in the chat room, so we can give him a medical update of the crew.
Oh, I quite agree.
So yeah.
One. Oh, my mic's being a bit strange. Hello? Yeah, Carlos is fine. It's just me. Oh well, never mind.
Well, trust me, like the few weeks that you were away, Matt, and me and Nev were doing the show, and I was in here.
Oh, I'm sure it was fabulous.
Pushing things from here. I very, very much utilised the chat room as my audio,
filter, for audio guides. Yeah, absolutely.
Guides, Oh, you're too quiet. You're too quiet.
Love that. Yeah,
brilliant. Absolutely fantastic.
Nobody will get it better than the people who are watching. I can tell you. I know. Absolutely. There we go. Yeah, my camera's working as well. Look, ooh, get me. Ooh, get me. There we go. Lovely. Ooh.
I don't know how we've got to the 25th of June.
I know.
Where the heck has this year gone?
It's nuts, isn't it? Absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
Absolutely nuts. Oh. John has commented on your message in the group chat.
He has, yes.
I think he's right. I think it's very super accurate, isn't it? Yeah. I was listening. Hang on, I'll see if I can get it to. Hang on. Oh. For some reason, it's connected to the. I don't know. It's stupid.
We were having a joke about PA announcements in airports. They're not very good.
They're not.
And you can barely understand what's being said sometimes.
Here we go. And it sounds a little bit like... Ooh, let's give that a play, shall we? Here we go. Are we... No? Oh, it's not playing. I've broken it. Rude.
No.
There we go.
Oh, doorbell.
That's about the...
I'd argue that's very on point, Nev. I'm not going to lie.
Yes. God.
Oh no! Now it's stuck in the loop. Oh, hang on. Sorry. Honestly, can't get the staff.
Actually, one of the things I didn't mention last week.
Yeah.
Nev on the show and Matt. Oh, hold on, my tablet's now fired up for some reason.
Oh, is it?
We just turn this off. There we go. Was the PA that the crew gave on that Titan 321 through the speakers was absolutely crystal clear.
Oh, was it?
Like, was like absolutely crystal clear. Like the voice, everything was perfect through the speakers.
Perhaps they'd listened to Nev's rant a while back. Perhaps that's what it was.
Because normally we talk about on the show, don't we, about how the PA systems on some of the aircraft would be absolutely
abysmal.
Rubbish.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Also, the crew technique for using them as well.
Yes.
Leaves a bit to be desired sometimes.
Absolutely.
And then when it starts feeding back, they put their hand over the mouthpiece.
Not realising that
even
usually
worse.
makes it worse. Yeah, absolutely. But then I suppose it's all right for us. Well, you're an actual AV expert. I'm an adequate amateur.
No, but I used to be, you see. But from February, that's all gone out the window. I'm now back to amateur status.
I don't know about that, Nev. I'd still take your advice over virtually anyone else I know, frankly.
Sturman says in the chat room, Carlos, what do we think about the Pitts special at Duxford?
Oh, the jet one. I'd said to Nev when we were there on Saturday, I'd read about this in one of my aviation magazines online I read. Was reading about it a few weeks ago, didn't know anything about it, and it was there at Duxford on Saturday, and it is incredible. A Pitt special powered by jet engines.
I mean, that sounds quite terrifying, I'm not going to lie.
It was absolutely bizarre, honestly. So bizarre. But, no, it was a very, very nice bit of kit, I will say.
I'm sure. I'm going to have to pull a blind down. That won't do. I'm being blinded. There we go.
Pull the blind down. 'Cause you're being blinded.
Now I've got to put the lights on. Oh, God, I'm going to be sweating like... I nearly said something that would have got us cancelled. Sorry. It involved Gary Glitter. I'll move on.
Yeah, it's very interesting, Richard. Yeah, it's very strange to watch a prop powered aircraft. a prop powered aircraft. I was going to say piston powered aircraft.
Okay,
something.
right. Okay.
Being
the
flying
worst
through the
point
sky.
at which you could pause.
But seeing that aircraft flying through the sky and then the guy engaging two jet engines that were strapped to the side of the...
yeah, that seems perfectly legit. Nothing to see here. Move along.
Yes, Sturman, it was an amazing sound. I've never heard anything quite like that, I must say, before. So, no, it's great. Really good. Really good. I'll put together some stills and some video of it all, actually, for next week's show.
I need to dump them in the drive, didn't I, Nev?
Mr. Bounds, you've gone into...
I have, haven't I?
Yes.
480p with a weird aspect ratio.
Yeah, you've gone into 4:3 mode, dear.
What's gone on there? Let me just sort that out for a start.
That was unexpected. Well, you froze. I thought it was my end for a minute, and then it's just Carlos is still moving.
Let's just deal with that,
because we do have a bit of a fault with the Zoom tower with the network card.
Oh yes, I'm going to have to.
I'm wondering whether, because I have got a Wi-Fi. Oh, hello.
Yes.
Try turning it off and on.
Yeah, I'm going to have to rejoin.
Oh,
I can't fix that with the
camera active.
Let me just try one more thing to save having to do that.
Try turning the camera off. Will that help?
Yes, that's what I was thinking of doing, actually. Yeah. Perhaps I'll just switch between
your laptop one and then the other one. Yeah.
Perhaps that's.
Say.
Yes.
There it is.
There
we go.
I'll blame my former employer, if you like, because it's their camera.
Excellent.
I forgot to give it back, sorry.
Did you? Outrageous. How do you sleep at night?
Damn it.
Not very well at this time of year, I'm sure, but... It's this, 6 days of the year that we have where you sort of wish that we had air conditioning.
Well, also next week it's going to be 32 degrees on Monday, I think they're talking about. So
beg your pardon.
Back up to the really high temperatures again, briefly.
I don't know if I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I say it's weird, and sort of John, when I went to go and see him, sort of like warned me a bit like that. He sort of said it's just like, because it is really hot and it doesn't pay to be out in it. But weirdly in Dubai, even though it is, I think when I was there it was something ridiculous. Well, it was quite cool apparently. It was only 35.
Mind you don't get the humidity, do you? So
no, you don't.
So if you have 32 degrees in Singapore, for example, that is incredibly humid and horrible.
Yeah.
Whereas at least it's just the dry heat in Dubai.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can
It's not humid.
I can deal with that a bit better.
Yeah, it's not humid at all. And it was, in many ways, it was absolutely hilarious because John and his wife had very kindly taken me out for dinner on my birthday because I was there for my birthday. And we came out of a very beautiful hotel. I think it was a Hilton. It got a gorgeous viewing gallery that was overlooking the Palm and all this kind of thing. It was all really lovely. Had a great meal. But when we came out of the restaurant from the top floor, obviously, all the way down to the bottom floor and went outside, and it was... It was they were genuinely shivering because it was 21 degrees Celsius.
Ooh.
There's a bit of a wind, to be fair, and I'm thinking, well, this is lovely. This is could it be like this during the day, please? It was lovely. But, oh, sorry, I just changed the camera as Nev.
Luckily, I turned my volume down
while he's blowing his nose.
Yeah,
there we go. Never mind.
I've seen a bit.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, Jem's off for a run.
Jim. She'll have to go and see some bloke called Jim. She goes 3 days a week, so he must be...
Lovely. So many jokes, none of which are appropriate. Yeah, none of which I can say on air. Yeah. Nev's really... not Nev. Carlos is really excited because I'm making him use something different for doing his radio show next week.
Oh, yeah, I'm over the moon. I can't wait.
You'd think he'd be pleased to be able to hear the news from his end, wouldn't you?
No. I like things simple in my life.
It
Press
is
a
simple.
button,
No, that's
pull
what
a
you've got to do.
fader.
It's even more simple. The computer does
see.
all the work.
Yeah.
John Falk's in the chat room in Jersey
John.
this week, and he's off for a drink soon.
Oh.
A drink in Jersey. That's not a bad place to be.
Oh, we do love Jersey.
Isn't it interesting, the Channel Islands, even though they're not very far from the mainland UK, you can have completely different weather. It's got its own little sort of weather system.
Yeah.
Compared to some of the south coast of the UK.
Well, it's like...
throwing it down in Southampton,
yeah,
and in St Helier it's beautiful and 24 degrees.
Yeah.
So
it's absolutely the same in like Isle of Wight as well. It is so much warmer on the island, and yet I mean I remember pulling up at Plymouth, sat there to go over the bridge, to go onto the ferry, I should say. And I thought, right, I'll just I was programming the sat nav while I was there to sort of get us to the place that we're going, and it was just like, and it said 7 miles, and I'm thinking that can't be right. And I looked at it, no, it was 7 miles, including the crossing. Just like, well, that's awesome. We literally crossed the thing, and it was literally 2.5. It was less than 2.5 miles from the ferry port. We literally came out of the ferry port, turned right again, and there we were.
brilliant.
Needless to say, we've booked to go there again in September.
Yeah. Nice.
Indeed. How are we doing? Oh, 4 minutes. I assume we're aiming to start on time.
Well, why not?
Standards and all that. Where has this month gone?
It's flown by.
You realise this is the last show of this month?
I know, it's incredible, isn't it? The only good thing about today is that my pension has been paid a day early. So normally comes in on the 26th, but since I kicked up a stink last time, they're paying it early now.
Lovely, so. jolly good, and what will that £3.79 be spent on
before tax? yeah,
absolutely. I know, a bit like that, isn't it? Never mind, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, John Falk's got a good point in the chat room. He said, as we get older, the faster that time flies.
Oh,
ain't that the truth?
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
And I still maintain, Nev, I bet you are literally... There are some days where you think, I don't honestly know how I had time for work.
There was a bit of that, but I can't believe how quickly it's gone from, the 7th of February when I finished work to here now. And I've honestly not been bored for a single day. We've had stuff to do and things going on and...
Yeah.
What have you?
Darren's asking whatever happened to Global Airlines.
Yeah, what happened to Global?
I don't know.
It's a bit quiet, isn't it?
Yeah, has it all gone a bit hush, has it?
Yeah.
Perhaps they're preparing for the next big thing.
Right.
Whatever that is.
Okay, whatever one of those is.
Dear.
Sure.
Yes, John also says he remembers as a child how long the summer break was.
Ain't that true?
And it did seem, what was it, 6.5, 7 weeks? Maybe a bit longer in some cases. But that just seemed forever.
Yeah.
But now, 6.5 or 7 weeks just whizzes by, doesn't it?
Wasn't it lovely?
No time at all. So, hello, Masha. Hope you are well.
Lovely.
Hope you are welcoming the NATO people into your fine country.
Oh, yes, of course. Busy
Hope
time.
everybody's been behaving themselves.
Probably
No controversial statements, anything like that.
I don't know what you mean, Deb.
Well, we received the good news we had from listener Gavin over in New Zealand. He received his piece of aircraft that we sent out to.
Very good.
Which is good.
Love
I was
that.
slightly concerned it wasn't going to get there, but it did. Got there. So
Yeah, that's actually got there fairly quickly, isn't it? Really?
Hasn't it? Yeah.
Gosh.
Probably the biggest delay was leaving the UK.
Yeah.
I was just concerned because it's quite a thin, small packet, you see, and I thought, blimey, going to New Zealand, something bound to go away. But no, it's got there. He's really chuffed. So
Good.
that's good.
Oh, hang on. I'm watching the clock. Sorry.
He's also sent us a little video as well, which
lovely.
which will play out at some point.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice.
5
Got my
seconds
fan.
to clock.
Got my fan. Look at that. Look. Is that the same one as you got?
Yeah,
I got
it
you
is,
that
yeah.
one for the studio.
Yeah. Mine's got a wire on it. Has yours got a wire on it?
It's rechargeable.
No, mine's not rechargeable. But that's all right. We don't mind that.
Had to get that one because it's quiet and Gemma moans. It's too loud.
Right. Yeah. Here we go. We're off. Good luck, everyone.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Well, hello and welcome to episode 557 of the Plain Talking UK podcast. I am Carlos, and in this week's packed show, Wizz Air asks passengers to pre-select themselves for being offloaded from overbooked flights. British Airways faces a backlash over water bottle removal trials on some US flights. And some good news regarding the UK funding to help disadvantaged youngsters become pilots and engineers. In the military this week, some Airbus A321 aircraft are being modified into flying frigates. Yes, you heard me correctly. Patrol jets by France, and we discuss rumours that Boeing might resume production of the C-17 Globemaster III. Nev's also got a nice interview clip from Pete, the Irish pilot, as he speaks with Ady Dolan from NATS at London Heathrow Tower. And we'll also have the first look at some of the content that we gathered at last weekend's Duxford Air Show. It was a very busy show as usual, and the weather was extremely hot, to say the least. So, joining me across the fields and glens and rivers of the UK, over in the sprawling mansion that is Buckinghamshire, it is my fellow heat lover and sun lover from Duxford, Neville Bounds.
Yes, the Factor 50 was extensively slathered on, if that's even a word. As you'll see from the video later on, you might have told me, Carlos, that I hadn't rubbed the sun.
Oh, you were a bit...
Pale.
However, having said that, it's just as well because I didn't get burnt or anything like that.
Yeah.
But gosh, what a warm day that was, and great day out as always. Not as busy as it has been on previous Saturdays, I would say. But then, of course, a lot of people were going on Sunday because they wanted to see the Red Arrows, which never made an appearance due to operational circumstances.
Indeed. Operational challenges.
Yes. But
Not being allowed
no,
to leave the
it was a good day out, as it always is. Parking, bit weird there, but we'll talk about that later on, I'm sure. And we have bought some... in fact, if you had to ask me what the best piece of hardware was at the show, it wasn't the Pit Special. It wasn't
the Eurofighter Typhoon.
No. It was the new PTUK trolley, which we have made an investment in. And that saved the day. If you're looking at it on the YouTube feed, you'll see it. If you haven't, if you're listening to it as an audio podcast, have a look at this trolley. It was absolutely brilliant for not very much money, and it saved the day because we were able to cart everything around in one go, and then it compresses up into a small thing that I can just keep in the studio here. So that really did save the day, particularly as they decided to park me a long way from the event itself. I don't know why they did that, but it's just as well we had that. That's all I can say.
Just looking at the comments in the chat room, Nev, Captain Cruz says, "Did you pull me around in that?"
No, there are certain weight limitations. I believe. Yeah.
Oh, so many jokes.
Ant Flynn says, "Least it's not tartan."
No, good point. Well, I suppose we could get a PT UK logo.
We could pimp it up, couldn't we? Yeah,
perhaps in time for the Bray Air Show, maybe.
Ooh, yeah, I think so.
With my local silk screening company, see if they can do something for us. So, yeah.
But no, we had a good day. That was a very enjoyable day. We managed to get some good content for the show, which will be playing out this week. But also joining us across in the PTUK Master Suite studios, hopefully it's not 4,000 degrees Fahrenheit
in there. It's not far off.
It's, of course, Matt Smith. Hello.
Hello. How are we?
Good. Got the fan on. I hope you've got the fan on.
Yes, I've got my little fan on. I have to say, I'm absolutely gutted I couldn't make it over the weekend. It sounds like you had a brilliant time. I was absolutely gutted that I couldn't make it. Unfortunately, we couldn't both be away from the radio station, so it's just like... Yes, absolutely. It wasn't the same without you, Carlos, I'm just saying.
I have had a few comments. I'm not going to lie. I didn't say to you earlier, but I have had a few comments from some listeners, not PTUK listeners,
no,
other listeners. Anyway, I must admit, Matt, me and Nev did manage to sample the obligatory, obviously, PTUK bacon roll. First thing in the morning.
All right. I thought you were going to say ice cream, the Captain Alf edition. That is.
Well, do you know what? I actually, funny you say that. I did disappear during the afternoon because Nev fancied an ice cream. I fancied an ice cream as well.
Yeah.
We'd had our burger and fries.
Of course, you've got to have dessert. Those are the rules. Yep.
But I went to go and get an ice cream, and the queue was kind of
astronomical.
It was down the A14.
Lovely.
Because it's quite a hot day. We opted in the end for a chilled iced pint of a very popular beverage made by a very popular beverage company.
We're not the BBC. You can just say
alcohol.
It's fine.
But it was nice. We had a glass of cold Pepsi. It was very nice.
Cold Pepsi. Oh, okay. Oh.
Yeah.
Other drinks Brendas are available, I suppose.
Other drinks.
I thought we were going to go for a nice lager shandy or something. There's nothing quite like a lager shandy that cuts through.
This is the thing.
I don't know how you feel about a shandy. Never you were.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was a really hot day, and literally, me and Nev were planted next door to where the bar was, and they had an actual fully functioning bar there, pumps, the whole lot. Everything was there on offer.
Also, James from Big Airways came to see us. So James is an audio listener. Thank you very much, James, for coming to see us and for offering to buy us a pint as well. But we were on the water, unfortunately, just for hydration regions.
Yeah. But that's the only reason Carlos missed me is because I could have driven home.
Yes, that's true. Anyway, thank you, James. Great to meet you. Had a lovely chat. And thanks for being a good listener. Hopefully the T-shirt fits you as well.
Yes. Ooh. Yeah. That was like Nev said. It's always nice to meet listeners.
Carlos?
I did bring some merch with me.
I'm very proud of you. Well done.
No, it's lovely to hear, because obviously we have our lovely chat room who obviously join us every Wednesday here and at 7 o'clock. But it's always nice to meet some of the audio listeners who kind of don't have the time to come in on a Wednesday and watch a live show, but religiously download the show to listen to on their commutes to and from work. And with him being a pilot as well, obviously it's quite nice to know that we've got some more pilots listening to the show, which is really good.
Absolutely,
I love that.
Yeah, I wonder how him and Andy. I bet there'd be some very, very fascinating discussions if you get those two together. Wouldn't
they're
they
both
just?
Airbus guys. So.
Oh, are they? Well, I bet they. Yeah, but if nothing else, slagging off Boeing. I mean, it's just it'd be fascinating.
but no overview. It was a good show, very warm. And I'm very glad that we took our chairs and were able to sit and kind of watch some of the air show for a change, which is very nice. But no. Right, I suppose we better do some stuff, haven't we? Let's have a look and see who's in the chat room this evening, who's joined us in there. Going to start at the top of the list. Richard Adams, who's in there first. Well done, Richard. He just beat Mazoos in this week, who's in there in close second there, Mazoos. Hello to you.
Always.
Good to see you in there. Lee Davies says, good evening all, with a pint. Good, nice to see that. I have a pint here, but it's a pint of juice.
Water? Oh, juice. Oh, okay.
Of juice this week, yes. Sturman's in there. Hello to you as well. We've got Captain Cruz back in town for a live episode. What else is he saying? Darren Smith, hello to you. He said Duxford-Orians. Try and say that after a few pints. Master of None, hello to you. Great to see you in there. We've got John Falk. Greetings from Jersey. He's shortly off for a drink. I expect he's already gone for that drink, Nev. You know what those Jersey drinkers are like. We have got Masha's in there. Hello to you. Great to see you in there. And we scroll down. Bill says, happy sweltering Wednesday all.
I mean, that's a fair statement.
Richard E. Flags also in there this week. Good to see you in there, Richard. More great pictures on his site again this week, I noticed. Ant Flynn, hello to you. Good to see you in the chat room. Neville Bounds has got his blue spanner of doom. Always great to see him in there. Jonathan Warner has popped in. Says, hello, lovely people. Hello to you, Jonathan Warner. Good to see you in the chat room. Don't forget, if you're listening to us in the audio show, we're live every Wednesday here on YouTube. Look for us, Plain Talking UK. Hit the subscribe and the bell icon to be notified when Matt's hitting that go live button at 7 o'clock here on a Wednesday evening. We'd love to have you in the chat room. So, loads of news to get through tonight, plus some extra bits as well from Duxford, as Nev said, and also a great little piece Nev's picked as well to play out later, along with our retro airline ad of the week this week, which is from a large US carrier. Right, let's do some commercial news, if all the team are ready.
Oh, yes.
The captain has turned on the seatbelt light. Please take your seats and fasten your seatbelts.
And the first story this week comes from theindependent.co.uk. Wizz Air asks passengers to pre-select themselves for being offloaded from overbooked flights. Be interesting to see whether Nev would do this. As travellers prepare for high-pressure summer, one of Europe's biggest budget airlines is inviting passengers to pre-select themselves for offloading from overbooked flights. Wizz Air is telling passengers they will be in line for a €100 or £85 voucher if they're selected as a volunteer at the airport to be offloaded. Most airlines sell more tickets than there are seats available for some in-demand flights. They say that typically 5% of passengers are no-shows. Who doesn't turn up for a flight, honestly? European air passenger rights and rules requires carriers that overbook flights to seek volunteers if too many passengers show up and there are seats available. Typically, this takes place at check-in or the departure gate, with passengers offered incentives to travel on later flights. But Wizz Air is seeking to get a list of volunteers in advance, asking passengers, are you flexible on dates? would you consider joining our volunteer list to take a later flight if there aren't enough seats on your flight available? If you agree and are then selected as a volunteer at the airport, you receive €100 in Wizz credits per person that can be used for future travels with the airline, and then they'll rebook you onto a later flight that suits you best. If potential rewards looks meagre compared with the hundreds of pounds that airlines are required to pay if they deny you boarding to a passenger against their will. The minimum is £220, the maximum £520 depending on the length of the flight. The passenger must still turn up for the original flight, though, a spokesperson for Wizz Air said. Passengers should still go, he says, to the airport. By volunteering, passengers are indicating they are happy to be flexible.
Those tablets are good, aren't they?
I know. That's a mix of bleeding... I was about to say tramadol then. It's a mix of antihistamines and paracetamol. Whether or not the volunteer will fly will be down to the number of no-shows on the specific flight in question. If there are enough no-shows, the volunteer will fly, but if there are too few no-shows, the volunteer will be compensated as per the form and put onto another flight. The invitation makes no guarantee about the later flight the passenger would get, the Wizz Air spokesperson said. The airline would advise checking if there are any alternative flight options that they would be suitable for, saying, yes, wherever possible and where capacity allows, this would usually be the next available flight. Flight frequencies vary widely from London Luton to Bucharest. Wizz Air offers 5 flights per day, but from Aberdeen to Gdansk, there are only 4 flights per week. Blimey. Wizz Air tells passengers if the number of volunteers was insufficient and Wizz Air denies your boarding against your will without reason, you will receive additional assistance. This includes meals and a hotel accommodation if needed, and quantity to fax messages. Fax messages? Really?
Oh, how quaint.
Oh, how very cup and string.
Oh, how very 1990s of you.
Nev, I'm guessing that if you're going to buy a ticket to fly somewhere on one of your many meetings in the past, you normally want to get to that meeting and not...
Well, I'm not turning up for the meeting, turning up not to board the flight. Now, in my case, Heathrow's 45 minutes down the road, but a lot of people travel a long way to their airports as well, regionally around the country. And as Ant says in the chat room, there's no way I'd want to join that list. Time off is precious, and I wouldn't want to lose a potential day for a little payment. And I think he's right. That's why I would look at it as well. It's going to be an interesting experiment to see how this does work, though, whether people take them up. But of course, airlines typically overbook by about 10%, roughly speaking, and with all the no-shows they get, it normally kind of works out. But inevitably, if everybody turns up for the flight at once, that's when things start to be divvied out, isn't it?
I mean, my biggest issue with that is, like, you know, in principle, I wouldn't have a problem with that, but in reality, the likes of you and I, not so much Nev now, because he's retired, but like Carlos and I, you know, we've booked a specific amount of time to be away. For example, Carlos quite often booked his own flights separate to like accommodation and stuff like that, all perfectly normal. I must say I'm a bit of a wimp and I tend to sort of do it as an all-in-one type sort of thing. But that's the thing, is like you and I don't necessarily have that flexibility to go a day later or to sort of like go a day before. You know, that's the only reason why. As I say, I wouldn't have a problem with, you know, you think, you know, if I was in a position where I didn't matter, where it wasn't time sensitive when I go, but I've booked a holiday, I've only got 7 days, or I've booked me accommodation and stuff. It's going to be, you know, what happens if it happens to me on the way home? You know, you can afford to lose a day going out there, although it's always a shame to lose. You know, you quite often lose. The first day is usually a bit of a write-off anyway, isn't it? By the time you've got there and travelled and settled in and done your shopping and done this and done that, you know. So in terms of like holiday, I suppose if you're, you know, if you're applying the business model, then perhaps it's less of an issue.
Also, I think the credits thing as well. They say they're going to give you 100 Wizz credits, which I think is good if you're a regular-ish flyer with said airline. But if you're, you know, if you're only using Wizz once or maybe twice in a year to go on holiday, 100 credits are just going to sit there and kind of, well, do nothing. But anyway, moving on to the next story. Nev, you've got the next one, and well, actually, no, sorry, Matt's got the next one. What was I saying? God, these medications are really playing.
Marvellous, aren't they? Can I have some?
Matt, you've got the next one, and oh dear. Anyway, I'm gonna test this out in August, actually, when I fly from Stansted, and see if this works.
Okay, so the source is galwaybo.ie, and the headline is Ryanair passengers bringing food reminded over new hand luggage rules. It's that time of year again as many Irish people get ready to head on their summer holidays. Many holidaymakers will be looking to save money wherever they can by packing their own food for their flights. However, before you attempt this popular cost-saving hack, it's important to note the rules that airlines and airports have about bringing your own food. Ryanair, one of Ireland's busiest airlines, has clear and relatively simple guidelines. Provided your food fits within the size limits for your hand luggage, you're allowed to bring any snacks or non-alcoholic drinks on board. It's an easy way to save money during a flight where buying food can quickly eat into your budget. However, there are a few restrictions to note. Hot drinks are not permitted on board for safety reasons, and passengers are not allowed to consume their own alcohol during the flight. A Ryanair spokesperson explained, in the interests of safety, we cannot allow passengers to board the plane with hot drinks or consume their own alcohol during the flight. It's also advised that the passengers eat or dispose of any remaining food before arriving at their destination to avoid breaching local rules on food imports. For example, when you're travelling in the EU, you're not allowed to bring in milk, meat or animal products from non-EU countries. While and I guess that applies to us now, doesn't it, as well, to be fair? The rules for bringing food on board vary slightly across airlines. It's important to also note that general airport safety guidelines, items considered liquids or pastes over 100 millilitres cannot be brought through security, and this includes certain food items like yoghurt, jam or chutney. Dublin Airport advises that local foodstuffs such as crisps and chocolate are fine to bring in your hand baggage. Packs or tubs of butter and margarine are not allowed as they are considered a paste. This doesn't apply to baby food or milk, with the airport explaining baby food or milk for people on special diets is allowed, as are medicines. Passengers are also allowed to bring these items through the screening points in the quantities needed during their trip, and should ask for the red tray, where these items can be placed separately from hand baggage and other liquids, gels or pastes at security screening. Passengers may be required to demonstrate that what they are carrying is for genuine purposes, such as medical, doctor or physician's note. An interesting one, really. Although I must admit, I tend to budget for buying myself something to eat on the plane, though. If you see what I mean, that's part of my calculations for going away. Because also, not being funny, if you're bringing a sandwich or something like that, you're not going to be able to keep it refrigerated, and sometimes you're in the airport for sort of, well, I mean, you're supposed to be there 3 hours before most flights and stuff anyway.
Sometimes you're in there for 8.
Well, sometimes yes, indeed. If you're Carlos, you're in there for 8. Yes. Indeed, absolutely. But yes, oh God, somebody reminded him he had a terrible experience recently. Brace yourselves, everyone. Here we go. Yes, I mean, fortunately, your situation was, shall we say, a bit extreme. But yeah, I don't know.
I'm still waiting for the money, by the way, BA. If you're listening,
are you? Oh, that's disappointing.
Well, it won't be long. I think you'll get it in the next couple of days, maybe on Monday, I think.
Bless him. Still championing BA.
It's got to come through my account first, because I've got to take my 20%.
Of course, absolutely. There's always got to be a handling fee, hasn't there?
They've got to skim it off Nev's gold points.
Right, okay. Or add them on, I think, in the vain hope he might keep it for another year.
Oh, dear. Indeed. Well, I will. I never normally take hot drinks on plane. I always take food, I think, if I'm travelling short haul. Just because the food is so expensive. Mind you, it's expensive in the airport, to be fair, but it's even more expensive on
yeah,
board.
but I say I tend to budget for that, because, I've said it before, that is it Levan. No, I'd never say it right.
Well, Levanza.
Yeah, Levanza or Levance coffee is my most favourite of all the coffees. I absolutely love it, and I know it's bonkers that you're drinking it through the filter and all that kind of thing. But honestly, it's the nicest coffee I've ever had, like, in the air. So, you know, I genuinely budget for it, you know, for a lukewarm panini and so their ham and cheese lukewarm paninis are absolutely delicious, you know, and I'd take that over the airport food any day.
Yes.
But then we know I'm quite weird, so that's fine.
Can't beat a nice coffee. That's what I say.
Exactly.
Right, Nev, you have got the next story, and sort of moving from hot drinks and food to cold drinks.
Oh yeah, poor old BA. They can't get a break, can they? It's on aviationatoz.com, and it says that British Airways is facing a wave of criticism after initiating a controversial trial that removed water bottles from meal trays in selected cabins. Oh. The trial, which is currently limited to flights between London Heathrow and US cities, including Miami, Boston and Los Angeles, has angered many passengers. The initiative impacts travellers in the airline's World Traveller and World Traveller Plus cabins, with the stated aim of reducing single-use plastics. Frequent flyers, however, are questioning the airline's true motives. The backlash began when a British Airways passenger flying from Miami to London in the World Traveller cabin reported that no bottled water was available on board. Whilst he was offered champagne, his request for a water bottle was denied. According to his post on the Flyer Talk forum, crew members informed him that BA had entirely removed bottled water on certain routes during the trial. The trial's running from the start of June. It's just finished on June 22nd and affects the Heathrow to Boston Logan routes, Heathrow to Los Angeles and Heathrow to Miami International. During these flights, plastic bottles are replaced with cups of water, which are served by the crew. Paper cups have also replaced plastic tumblers in line with the sustainability objective. Importantly, the change does not affect Club World or first class passengers. British Airways claims that the initiative is part of its efforts to reduce single-use plastics on board. However, passengers argue that completely removing bottled water without testing alternatives like boxed or canned water undermines the sustainability message. Critics suggest that the move may be more about cutting costs than helping the environment. This is not the first time that BA has faced scrutiny for changes perceived as cost saving. In October 2023, the airline faced a similar backlash named Brunchgate after it replaced hot lunch service with breakfast only meals on long haul flights departing between 8:30 in the morning and 11:30 in the morning. The move drew sharp criticism when passengers were served breakfast style meals well past lunchtime. BA later scaled back the Brunchgate meal changes, but only after sustained negative feedback. Oh dear.
Now I have a take on this, actually, Nev. I don't know how you'll feel about this. My only objection is I don't have a problem with this, actually. That's my first thing to say. I don't have a problem with them moving to the paper thing, because I do feel that it is way more sustainable than like the bottled plastics and stuff. My only real issues with it are they're very small cups and they don't hold the volume that the bottles do. Now, I know if you ask them, they'll bring you as much water as you want for during the flight, but it's not as easy. The thing is they're busy. That's the thing. There's only a handful of crew looking after 200 odd people, and that's my only issue with it. Is not the fact. I applaud the idea of moving to sort of paper-based products over the plastic bottles and stuff. I don't have an issue with that at all, but I do drink a lot of water. And it's purely down to volume.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And the other thing I would say about it is fancy making a differentiation between the different classes of travel.
Yeah.
About how you receive your water. So if you're in Club Europe or first class, you can still have your bottle of water as before. But if you're an economy class passenger or economy plus.
But there's no reason.
I mean, it's just ridiculous, isn't it?
And to be honest with you, if you're going down that model, I can't see that there's any issue, if you like, rolling out across the aircraft, regardless of class. You know, so if you're doing it for the purposes of sustainability, then apply it across the board, not just across the classes.
I'd love to be in some of these meetings. They don't invite me to them, surprisingly enough. But
that's very disappointing.
Where these things are decided. I mean, honestly, how to pee off your passengers, having already mucked about with the Avios schemes and the tier point systems, which we've talked about so much. Then this changing of meal business. It's difficult enough for the airline as it is, and they're just pushing it further away from people, I think. So why not be like the government? Do a couple of U-turns here and there, and that will help you with your passenger experience.
Thanks, Nev.
Master of None in the chat room says, I carry my 24-ounce bottle everywhere and they're always happy to fill it for me, or I fill it after going through security. I mean, that's not a bad idea. That's
the ultimate, isn't it? Because because it's only if it's got the fluids in it. So you've got the little sinks, haven't you? So if you are carrying a bottle of water through the airport, which is a brilliant idea, as you say, you can pour away the water that you've got this side, go through security because they can scan it and check it and all that kind of thing to go through to the other side, as you say, and then when you get on board, they'll always happily top it up for you. On one occasion, when I had a water bottle with me, they actually put some ice in it for me as well.
Yeah, I think most airports. I mean, I saw them at Heathrow and I saw them at Malta as well. Yeah. You know, they have drinking water stations,
fountains, and stuff, haven't you?
Fountains round the airport, and they are geared up so you can fit. You know, a normal kind of standard sort of size water bottle underneath to fill up your bottle. So,
yeah. But again, as you say, like if you're on board, they don't have a problem. I think that's a brilliant idea. Yeah, absolutely, Master of None. I doff my cap to you, sir.
Right, next story. Moving on to Airbus for this one. Where's Andy when you need him?
Drunk, I would imagine, about now. It is his birthday, let's be honest.
It's his birthday. It's his birthday today, yes.
Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you. Very good. Anyway, moving on.
Aircraft.airbus.com, this one is, it's all about the A350 freighter. Could this be the one that sees the 777, knocks it off the top spot? But... So what makes the world's largest main deck cargo door a special one? So this is, as I said, about the A350F. So the large door size, the most obvious attribute is its overall size. The A350F will have the largest main deck cargo door for unprecedented access in any commercial aircraft, including the 777 and 747 freighters, with a cut-out width of 4.5 metres or 175 inches and a clear opening of 4.3 metres, which is 169.5 inches. In fact, the door is 15% wider than the 3.7 metres of the 777 freighter, allowing for the seamless one-go entry of large items such as high bypass aero engines for today's large airliners. The large door allows an engine to be offloaded in only a few minutes compared with around an hour for aircraft with smaller cargo doors. So the aft fuselage door location on the 350F, another new aspect for the Airbus is the design choice for a rear fuselage location of the MDCD. A rear main deck cargo door preserves a safe centre of gravity during loading, since the first containers or pallets to enter the aircraft are moved from the door at the rear towards the front of the aircraft. Composite door structures. So the next unique feature of the 350F is not only an Airbus first, but also an industry-wide one. The MDCD structure is made from composite materials. While this choice would make sense given that the A350's fuselage is already made from composites, a large door made from composites is also, of course, going to be lighter than one of the ones made from aluminium. The electrical door open-close actuation system. Now, the A350 family was, from its very outset, conceived as a more electric aircraft. Thus, the traditional reliance of pneumatics and hydraulics throughout previous generation of aircraft has today been partly replaced by electrically assisted actuation. It made sense, therefore, that the new MDCD opening and closing mechanism will be driven by electrical rather than hydraulic power. On one hand, it avoids the need for hydraulic fluid lines to the door. On the other hand, it uses a substantial electric motor to operate the door in all potential conditions. At the time of this story being written, the teams in Bremen were starting the operations of the System Integration Bench, or SIB. The latter is dedicated to MDCD design, integration tests, and securing the right opening and closing of the door in all potential configurations for the aircraft on the ground. This marks an important step for the maturation of the aircraft for its operations performance. No, Nev, I don't know whether Airbus have sort of gotten to the table a bit late with the 350F, because obviously the 777 dominates the freighter market in regards to carrying cargo, but whether they will be able to kind of get ahead of Boeing with having that larger door with better access, whether that'll make any difference.
I wonder whether they've spoken to Boeing 777 freighter crews and ground handling teams as well about some of the challenges that they're facing with loading. Because, I mean, let's face it, freighters is all about logistics and how long the aircraft's on the ground for, how long it takes to load and unload and all the rest of it. And if there is the possibility of greater capacity or more awkward shapes and things like that, then that's probably going to be a good thing. So probably Airbus have learned from perhaps some of the challenges that the 777 freighter guys have had here. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out and when it's certified and all the rest of it. But no, I think there's some definite possibilities here because, aircraft don't earn any money being on the ground, do they?
No,
they don't, do they?
Destination. So, yeah.
I suppose another big factor will be cost. Well, how much Airbus are going to charge for the 350 freighter?
These things are free, surely. I mean,
yeah.
Also, if you think about it, all the ground handling is done by third-party contractors for many organisations as well.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily have their own staff, so they'll be getting a bill from the third-party contractor about for how long it takes, how many men and women it takes to load this stuff in, and how long it takes them to do it. So it's a good initiative. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Absolutely.
Matt, you have got the next story. It's a kind of an update, really, on a story we covered. Was it earlier in the year, Nev? When was this one? It was January last year, wasn't it?
Yes.
Blimey's. Ages ago.
Indeed. Sorry, I've got a very minor technical issue. Oh no, now it's too small. Can't read it. There we go. Lovely. Yes, sorted. Nobody panic. It's all good. I don't know why it just changed size on me. We'll start. First of all, the source on this one is edition.cnn.com, and the headline is NTSB to determine probable cause of the Boeing 737 door plug blowout this week. So, 4th of January 2024, a door plug blew out on a Boeing 737 MAX at more than 16,000 feet in the air, leaving a gaping hole in the side. On the Tuesday this week, the National Transportation Safety Board heard the investigation's findings and voted on the probable cause of the incident. The findings could put to rest one of the biggest questions around the terrifying incident: who is to blame? The hearing comes as at a fraught time for Boeing as well, which is now the focus of the fatal crash of a 787 Dreamliner operated by Air India this month. While there is no indication yet that Boeing's work caused the crash of the nearly 11-year-old plane, confidence in Boeing could suffer further unless it's cleared as the cause. After two fatal 737 MAX crashes in 2018 and 19 respectively, they were traced back to design and software errors. The Alaska Air door plug incident was caused by the jet being delivered to the airline by the embattled aircraft maker without the 4 bolts needed to hold it in place. Boeing had little reputation left to lose. In the NTSB preliminary findings, it was revealed that 4 bolts that hold the door plug in place on the Boeing 737 MAX were missing at the time of the plane's delivery to Alaska Air in October 2023. The plane made 150 flights over 10 weeks before the incident, including 22 flights between Hawaii and the mainland. Had the incident occurred over the Pacific at 35,000 feet rather than minutes after taking off from Portland Airport, it could have led to the loss of the plane. What has not been revealed is who exactly was responsible for leaving the bolts off the door plug during the manufacturing process. Boeing revealed that there was no internal paperwork showing that the door plug had been removed and then put back in place without the bolts, so workers who were moving the plane along the production line were not aware it needed to have the bolts reattached. The NTSB already held a fact-finding hearing into the incident in August, where it revealed sorry, my screen has just jumped. I do apologise. The NTSB already held a fact-finding hearing into the incident in August, where it revealed interviews with Boeing employees who said that they felt pressure to work too fast to avoid the mistakes. A Boeing employee identified as a door master lead told investigators that much of the assembly work needed to be redone because of the later discovery of problems, as happened with the door plug that was removed to fix some rivets. The worker said that there had been no special training to open, close or remove a plug door versus a regular door. The workers' team was put in uncharted waters to where we were replacing doors like we were replacing our underwear. As a result of the incident, the Federal Aviation Administration announced additional oversight of Boeing and limits on its production levels. The aircraft maker only recently returned to production level for the 737 MAX that it planned ahead of the incident. The complete final report on the Alaska Air incident from the NTSB will be available in a few weeks. And very interesting reading, I suspect it's going to make as well.
Yeah, I had a quick look whilst you were reading that, Matt, just to see, because that was on Tuesday or yesterday, because today's Wednesday, that they had this this kind of get together all about this, and the kind of latest results online from this say that apparently the NTSB are criticising both Boeing and the FAA for the
interesting
kind of bits that led up to this incident happening. So I think they've kind of apportioned the blame half and half to Boeing and half to the FAA. But yeah, it's
still not a good place to be, even if they are found to be, sort of not directly, the very fact that these conversations are taking place, in my eyes, is still not a good thing. Do you know what I mean?
No, it's not a good place to sit either if you're on board that aircraft. Definitely not. But yes, like I said just now, if you go online, they are, I think, like Matt just said, I think there's a few weeks when they release the whole final report on this, but there are some reports online that were that came out less than 24 hours ago, which kind of give you a bit of a sort of looking as to what went on in that meeting yesterday.
I think also if you recall the incident itself, and very soon after the incident, actually, a matter of just a couple of weeks, there was a preliminary, at least comments from Boeing and the NTSB about what they thought it was. So they knew what it was very early on in the investigation. Obviously, the whole thing has to play out and with a lot more detail. But I mean, this aircraft did 22 flights between Hawaii and the US mainland, not short sectors. So that could have been a very different story altogether, couldn't it? So, we'll wait. As they say, we'll wait for the final report. So, yeah.
So, Nev, you've got the next story. I found this one online this week, quite interesting actually. But I'd be interested to hear what your thoughts are on this.
Well, this is a runway that, an airport actually was very underutilised anyway, and the possibility of reopening it is quite interesting. It's on the mirror.co.uk, and it says that an abandoned airport could soon be back in business, offering budget flights to some of Europe's top destinations. Manston Airport in Kent is set to roar back into life a decade after it closed its doors. Excuse me. The former RAF base, which played a crucial role in both World Wars, is currently undergoing a major refurbishment and is due to open in 2028. Initially, the revived airport will focus on cargo operations. However, plans are afoot to introduce passenger services. Tony Freudman, who's main board director at the controlling airport company River Oak Strategic Partners, told the BBC that he is hopeful that passenger services will return, and said that they have plans to attract short-haul carriers to popular destinations in Europe. The revamp of Manston is expected to cost £500 million, encompassing new terminals and upgraded runways. It's only got one runway as it is. The airport has a single runway that is 2,748 metres. That's just over 9,000 feet long. It's also notably wide at 60 metres in width, and was designed to handle emergency landings for Concorde and the Space Shuttle. And I know that Nick from the airline pilot guy used to do regular trips into there when they were doing base training for Virgin as well back in the day. Well, if the cargo side of the operation proves successful, passenger routes to countries such as the Netherlands, Spain, Cyprus and Malta, hope you're listening, Carlos, could be introduced. It was reported 3 years ago that the airport's owners were in discussion with budget airlines, including Ryanair, EasyJet and Wizz Air. Mr. Freudman told Kent Online at the time, looking at the way the passenger market is going, we are confident we can persuade one or more low-cost carriers to base their aircraft here. It does not work for us that they fly in just once a day, because that's not economic. If they base 3 or 4 planes at Manston, they will have rotations 3 or 4 times a day, as they have at Southend. That will cover our costs and bring passenger footfall through the terminal all day and every day. We'll reinstate the twice daily KLM service to Amsterdam Schiphol that we had before, and that will give business people in particular access to almost anywhere in the world. Opening an airport, even one like Manston, which already has in place a full-length runway, taxiways and airport buildings, takes a huge amount of preparation and planning first, so it will be many months before we are ready to welcome construction teams onto the site. Well, this airport is 160 miles from Bungay. You'll be pleased to know. And 124 miles from me. Now, the problem with Manston, I mean, it's a great facility because it's a very long runway, but what about access and what about infrastructure and how people are going to get to and from the airport? It's quite a long way down into Kent, if you might see on the map. However, with southeast capacity airports being a problem, they have been a problem for some time, certainly in the south and southeast of England, this has got to be a way forward when there's existing facility there that could be used. So it'll be interesting to see whether that works.
Yeah, I was just looking at it. Sorry, Matt, go on.
I was going to say, do you think they'll get the carriers to support it, though?
It's a question. Well, the biggest complaint that many of the 3 main low-cost carriers have is that the landing fees at the main airports are getting higher and higher. Now, right. Ryanair have always had a big issue with this for many of their bases, I know. So if Manston could operate some fairly sensible landing fees and aircraft handling fees and that kind of thing, then that might attract people. But the problem with it is where it's located. Quick look at the UK map and do a search for Manston Airport in Kent. It's quite a long way down there, and getting to it and getting back is a bit of a slog. If you live in Kent or the south part of Essex or on the Sussex border or something, it's less of a problem. But
I guess if it does, I guess it's like anything. I think, Nev. I think the problem is like when it first starts, there's going to be some challenges. But once it's if it starts to prove itself, for example, it may well switch. It's one of those like the infrastructure, if you like, the support in terms of like buses and trains and all that kind of thing. Potentially could appear. If the infrastructure is, it's like if it's popular enough so that people can make money out of providing those travel facilities to it, then it might stand a chance.
Yes, no, you're right.
Indeed.
I think for me and you, Matt, it's further than Gatwick, further than Heathrow, and further than Stansted by quite a few miles. So I don't think it would appeal to us living on the east coast of the UK.
No, but it might appeal to a lot of people who are perhaps forced to use Gatwick, for example.
But the thing with Gatwick and Heathrow, they're fairly, well, not, I wouldn't say central, but they're reasonably central within the UK as such. You know, you can kind of get to Heathrow and Gatwick from various points around, you know, central UK, but it is just a bit out there. I think Manson, I mean, it might work, you know, like we say, it's, you know, the people who live in Kent and that kind of part of the UK, it'll be perfect, because I'm sure there will be, you know, the people to use the, you know, the low cost carriers like EasyJet and Ryanair to fly to popular holiday destinations, just like they do at Southend. You know, Southend is sort of a bit further down south as such, but it must be popular, it must work, because EasyJet moved back there again. So, right, next story. This one is from dailymail.co.uk. And the most dangerous airports in the world revealed, including popular European holiday destination and also a runway where only 8 pilots are allowed to land. So the most dangerous airports in the world have been revealed. One is so feared that only 8 pilots are approved to land there. In a video that was shared on TikTok, it said that Paro Airport in Bhutan has the 5th most precarious landing on the planet. The runway at Bhutan is the only national airport is completely surrounded by the Himalayas, and when landing, aircraft have to dive through narrow valleys with no radar coverage. For this reason, just 17 pilots are certified to land there, and can only do so during daylight hours and at specific times in the afternoon and during the windy seasons. Next on the list is, I hope I pronounced these right, I'll soon pick up if not, is Courchevel Airport. Courchevel Airport, which served the ski resort, of course, never know that, big skier, in the French Alps, and is only accessible to small planes and helicopters. Not only is the runway here on an upward slope, but it also has ski runs right next to it, no lights, and is covered by snow and ice 70% of the year. Blimey. The airport has seen multiple crashes over the years due to low visibility and planes skidding, including one back in August 2021 with 1 fatality. The airport that takes a 3rd place spot is very surprising, given that it sees over 1.6 million tourists through its doors every year. Madeira is the 4th most visited region of Portugal, but the island has one of the most perilous airports in the world due to the fact it's built over the ocean and has very strong crosswinds. And for those of you who might have seen the YouTube live feed on there, which is broadcast on there, it makes for some very entertaining viewing, I will say. To be able to land here, pilots must undergo additional training. I think Andy's mentioned this before, actually. There have been 4 fatal plane crashes at Madeira Airport, with the most recent on the 11th of September back in 2003, when a British pilot and 9 Spanish passengers died shortly after taking off. Next up is Toncontín Airport, near Toncontín International Airport in Honduras. That's completely surrounded by mountains. Always handy, that. To land, planes have to make a tight 45-degree turn moments before touchdown. The airport has seen many fatal crashes, with the most recent being in February 2011, when a Central Airways flight crashed on approach 20 kilometres from the airport, and all 14 on board that aircraft were sadly killed. Madeira is the 4th most visited region of Portugal, but the island has one of the most perilous airports in the world due to its fact it's built over. They've just covered this one, didn't we, a minute ago? The most dangerous airport in the world, thanks for that editing, the most dangerous airport in the world is Lukla, or Lukla Airport, also known as Tenzing Hillary Airport, over in Nepal. Passengers may have to take something strong to steady their nerves here. The tiny airport is nestled amongst the steep mountains of the Himalayas and is 1.5 miles above sea level and surrounded by sharp peaks of up to 18,000 feet tall. So treacherous is the landings that only 8 pilots in the world are qualified to land there. Until July 2011, just one airline, Duxford Air, was allowed to use the facility. The runway there is just 6,500 feet long, one of the few in the world shorter than their elevation above sea level. And I think if you go on YouTube and look for landings at Loughler Airport, there are quite a few on there as well. And it's honestly great for plane spotters because there's some great positions where you can watch the aircraft come into land. But as a pilot, blimey.
Suboptimal.
Yeah, oh, blimey, yeah. But no, seriously, Madeira Airport, if you do get a chance, there is a live feed from there. I think most days they have a live feed from there. And, oh, hello. There we go. There's a live feed from there. You can watch the aircraft landing at Madeira Airport most days on there. And especially if there is a strong crosswind, it does make for some very interesting approaches into there. I know Ryanair, EasyJet, and I think Wizz as well operate from Madeira. So yeah, if you're not already seen it, have a look and see what you think. But I think Nev's disappeared, Matt.
Yeah, just we're having a couple of technical problems with Nev's cameras and stuff. At the moment,
right,
just,
okay.
We're just trying to put that right as we.
So there we go. If you're Matt Smith and you love flying as much as Matt,
no,
don't
thanks.
fly into Loughler
No,
Airport.
thank you. Absolutely not. Can't think of anything more terrifying, frankly.
Oh dear. Nev is back. So Nev, you've flown into Madeira before?
No, I haven't yet. No, that's a new one on me. Not really keen on. Well, I'm sure it's a good holiday destination, but it's a bit too windy for my liking. Well, I wouldn't mind the landing, but I just generally on the island, it's a bit windy, I think.
Bit windy.
But, each their own. There's no such thing as a dangerous airport, just poor piloting.
Okay.
I would say.
Fair.
Always makes me hungry when I talk about Madeira Airport.
Oh, you and that cake, you're
Fancy a bit of
obsessed,
cake.
aren't you? Yes.
Cake.
Never had it.
Haven't you? Oh my word, it's lovely.
Is that the thing with the marzipan and all that kind of thing? I mean, it sounds like something I'd love. Or is that something else?
No marzipan.
What am I
You're
thinking
of?
Battenberg, aren't I?
Battenberg.
Yeah,
Don't get me started. No, stop talking about food.
Okay.
Right. Matt, you have got the next story and love this one. This is really good news for youngsters.
Absolutely, yeah. We're loving stories like this, to be fair, especially in these challenging times. Oh, excuse me, sorry. Aerotime.aero is the source and the headline: UK funding to help disadvantaged youngsters become pilots and engineers. This, I think, is a brilliant idea. Funding worth £750,000 or $1 million will be used to support disadvantaged youngsters to become the next generation of pilots, engineers and aviation professionals. The UK government is financing the programme as part of its latest Reach for the Sky Challenge Fund, which aims to break down the barriers that prevent young people from entering the aviation sector. Reach for the Sky Challenge Fund helps deliver aviation outreach programmes that target disadvantaged youngsters, including those from ethnic minorities who have not have perhaps considered a career in the sector before. Funding can be used to deliver a range of schemes from career events, mentorship schemes, interactive demonstrations and educational initiatives with schools and universities. Now on its fourth round, Reach for the Sky Challenge Fund has already delivered £2.5 million, that's $3.3 million, to 40 organisations and has reached over 100,000 young people right across the UK. This builds on the government's promise to secure the long-term success of aviation by growing the workforce of the future. It will also break down the barriers which prevent people from joining the industry, including limited access to education, financial constraints and lack of exposure to career options, a spokesperson for the UK government said. Applications for the fund are being invited until September 12th, 2025, with entrants set to be reviewed by a panel that includes the UK Civil Aviation Authority, which also administers the money. This is exactly what the government is all about, breaking down the barriers to opportunity so that everyone, no matter their background, has a decent shot at getting a good career and building a good life. This funding will enable organisations like the King's Trust to reach out to disadvantaged kids and support them into careers into aviation, said Aviation Minister Mike Kane. He added, it also delivers on our promise to help the sector grow by delivering the pilots, engineers and technicians of the future, boosting jobs and growth across the country as part of the plan for change.
Great idea.
It is, absolutely. I love an initiative like this.
Yeah.
I
think with the cost of it.
We've spoken before, haven't we, about how prohibitively expensive it is to become a commercial pilot. We've got a mutual friend, the lovely Nangle, haven't we, who had to give up on his dream because he just couldn't remortgage any longer. And the problem is he'd done all that and he got all his type ratings, he got his jet, he was basically capable of flying an A320, he'd more or less done all of his type ratings and stuff, and then just couldn't secure a job within the time frame that you had before those type ratings expired. And then it was just too expensive to try and do it again. And that breaks my heart that somebody as talented as Nangle, who should have absolutely been a pilot without question. We met him at the 300th, I think it was. Yeah, the one at the hotel.
That's it. Yeah, 300th.
Yeah.
No, it's a good initiative. I hope they do. I hope they carry on doing it, and perhaps sort of carry on this sort of funding in the future.
It's a brilliant idea.
To help more youngsters do this. It'd be a great little idea.
Brilliant idea, yeah.
And to come from the UK as well. Yay!
Yeah. Makes a change, doesn't it?
Yeah, I know. Nev, moving over to somewhere where we had a great air show a few years back.
Oh, I remember this. I loved this.
I've still got the high-vis jacket somewhere
Good
as well.
man. That's what I like.
Seems very cool. It's on the business airportinternational.com website, and it says that London Biggin Hill Airport is the first airport in the UK to trial a non-crude oil-based asphalt binder and the world's first to do so on an operational taxiway. Known as biobitumen, the asphalt binder is made from renewable resources, specifically a combination of naturally occurring hydrocarbon resin and an organic extract. The material was installed during a live demonstration conducted by Associated Asphalt Contracting, together with their partners B2 Square, Bitumen Beyond Oil, attended by aviation and paving experts at London Biggin Hill Airport in May. Tony Embling, Head of Technical Services at London Biggin Hill Airport, said, "As we work towards our goal of reaching carbon neutrality by 2029, we're committed to driving meaningful progress towards more sustainable initiatives. This project reflects London Biggin Hill Airport's proud history of innovation, from pioneering air-to-air communications during the First World War to today's trials of new taxiway materials under live operational conditions. It's a significant milestone for the industry as we work to develop more resilient, lower impact infrastructure." Derek Locke, who's business development consultant at Associated Asphalt Contracting, said, "This is a unique opportunity to test durability, flexibility and surface performance in conditions far more demanding than traditional road surfaces. Through this project, we'll be gathering valuable data from a real-world setting to support the use of more sustainable materials that meet the standards of aviation environments." Well, Frank Olbrecht is the CEO of B2 Square, and he said, "We're presented with a great opportunity to demonstrate the viability of bitumen alternatives and highlight their commercial and environmental potential across the sector. By working in partnership with Associated Asphalt and their client, London Biggin Hill Airport, we've been able to progress beyond controlled testing to an operational taxiway used daily by business aircraft. We look forward to seeing how this project accelerates the conversation around more scalable, sustainable infrastructure solutions." We kind of forget all about the taxiways, don't we?
We do.
We only ever talk about runways. And of course, the taxiways must go through a lot of hard graft as well, with aircraft manoeuvring on them all the time at low speed and high speed. So,
yeah, I bet.
And I bet it's lovely to drive on as well. It looks good in the pictures.
Yeah, absolutely.
As you're taxiing out an aircraft, normally you can, as a paving of the passenger, you can hear that
Looks very smooth, doesn't it?
Looks very smooth, yeah. Very smooth.
Yeah. I guess the question is, though, and that's the point of the story, isn't it? I guess, is it going to be durable? That's the thing. It sounds like a wonderful thing. Is it, is it going to have the legs, if you like, to sort of like be hard wearing, essentially?
Yeah, and also not forgetting as well, because we get some quite cold, chilly winters here in the UK, and we all know what the frost and the cold does to our roads here. Hopefully that would stand up to that, the kind of cold. But I'm sure they've done their testing on it.
I'm sure
anyway.
there's been testing, especially, yeah, absolutely.
Now, last story for commercial news this week comes to us from Aviation or aviationline.com, and sometimes we always forget about, we talk about the 777 freighters. We talked about the A350 freighter earlier on in the show. But there are smaller freighters out there that we don't really sort of cover on the show much. So Bridges Air Cargo becomes the launch customer for the Embraer E190 freighter, or the E-freighter. Didn't know this existed, I'm not going to lie. Brazilian aerospace manufacturer Embraer, together with lesser Regional One, has announced an agreement naming Bridges Air Cargo as the global launch operator for the freighter version of the E190, known as the E-freighter program. It involves converting a passenger aircraft into freighters, or P2F, Passenger 2 Freighter. The deal unveiled at the 2025 edition of the Paris Air Show includes the delivery of 2 E190F aircraft, with the first unit expected to join the British company's fleet in the third quarter of 2025. Bridges Air Cargo, a subsidiary of Bridges Worldwide Group, provides logistics solutions to the global freight community. It partners with major players like FedEx, DHL and UPS to support high-performance time-critical network demands. Guy Bridges, Managing Director of Bridges Air Cargo, said it's fitting that Bridges becomes the launch customer for the E-freighter as we celebrate 35 years in operation and over 1 billion kilograms moved for the express market. He also added that the aircraft's size occupies a unique and unserved niche in the cargo segment, enhances the operational capabilities and opens new and promising route opportunities. Embraer's E-freighter program was developed in response to shifting e-commerce and logistics demands, which increasingly call for faster deliveries and decentralized operations targeting secondary and territory targets. The conversion of E-jets into freighters aims to fill the gap between large turboprops and bigger narrow-body freighters. So what do we know about the E190F? It's a passenger version of the E190, as we said, converted for a dedicated cargo operation. As we said, launch customer, Bridges Air Cargo. It's got a structural payload capacity of 13,500 kilograms, expected to enter into service, as we said, in the third quarter of 2025. And according to Embraer, the converted E-jets will offer a 40% more volume capacity and 3 times the range of large cargo turboprops. At the same time, they boast operating costs of up to 30% lower than larger narrow-body freighters, making them a highly efficient option for medium-density routes. Now, Nev, I think I'm right in thinking these are probably a good replacement for the, is it the BAE 146? Not the 146,
yes.
The ATP, I forget which one.
The BAE ATP, of course, from previously. I mean, with a payload of 13.5 tons, that's pretty usable, isn't it? Especially if you're using it on the medium haul stuff as well. No, it's a great initiative, and be interesting to see how they get on with it in terms of the running costs and how they're going to utilise that capacity as well. So no, it's great. Sounds brilliant.
And a bonus aspect as well, that this could probably get into airports that the 777 and the 350 freighter is, or the 747 as well.
Yes,
too big to get into.
Absolutely. No, nice.
Yeah, excellent. Right. Moving on to the next part of the show. And Nev, we've got a double bubble this week.
We have. Well, this week we're keeping things very united with one retro airline ad that puts the feel into feel good, and another that will have you adjusting your TV set.
Let United Airlines show you this great land you live in, with more vacations and more tours than ever before. Come to your land with us.
Have you seen the other side of where you live? Don't you know this great big land has got so much to give? Mother country's got her arms open wide. Don't let your good land pass you by, pass you by. Your land is our land anywhere a big bird flies, stretching out in glory, proud beneath the skies. Come along, sing the song, people, now's the time. The friendly skies of your land, United Airlines.
1,000 flights coming and going every business day, fanning out non-stop to over 135 cities. Covering the sky with more flights to more cities from O'Hare than any other airline. A kaleidoscopic array that could only be brought to you by United and United Express. Come fly Chicago's hometown airline. Come fly the friendly skies.
Kaleidoscope things.
Yeah, I do indeed. I don't know, I'm not sure. I think I've had one too many sherries. I think after that one. Wow.
I think obviously the post-production company had just taken delivery of their latest Vision mixer, and they had to use everything wacky effect that they could, even if it was appropriate or not. And they've certainly achieved that, haven't they?
Absolutely. I was actually never. I mean, I think we've had conversations along these lines before, but I mean, I remember when like wipes and fades and all that kind of thing were like the in thing to have, and nowadays, I mean, it's you know, cuts and a very basic fade are all that's expected these days. It's mostly cuts, isn't it?
It is, yes. Yeah.
Quite right,
and
too.
you get a fade in the news or a dissolve or something like that when someone's sadly passed away and they're trying to add some ambience to the whole thing. Yeah.
I mean, I must admit, I use a fade when we switch from live video to a photo.
Yes, that's the
right. But there we go. Never mind.
But no, a very joyous first advert there.
Odd, I think is the word we're looking for there, Carlos. Yeah.
Upbeat.
Yeah. And the other one, I'd love to have been in the meeting they had to decide that was the advert that they were going to build that advert. I mean, what was the age of it? Do we know?
I think those two were from the late 70s.
Right. Okay. I was going to go like mid 60s, Nev. To be honest with you. You know, at a time where, you know, like Diamonds in the Sky and all that kind of thing.
Oh dear.
Or something along those lines.
Right, moving swiftly on then,
quick,
guys
before we
and
get
girls.
sued, please. Yeah,
I know. So as you'll all probably know, me and Nev were very lucky indeed. We got to go to the Duxford Imperial War Museum over near Cambridge at the weekend to the Summer Air Show, the first kind of big air show of the year there at Duxford, and we had a great day, very warm day. Got some great, had some great chats, met up with some people as well. But Nev, what did we do on this first very interesting interview here?
Yes, well, obviously, first of all, we have to deal with, you know, the breakfast situation and make sure we've got the bacon roll and coffee, you know, the priorities. And this kind of stuff. But one of our first interviews is with Tegan from Vulture Squadron, and she gave us some very interesting insight to a couple of restored aircraft they've got in the hangars there. But first of all, let's go over to the main event, shall we, and see what Carlos and I are up to.
So we're back again at the Duxford Imperial War Museum here for the Summer Air Show 2025. Sun is shining. It's due to be a very warm day today. I know the forecast, Nev, was for kind of 30s, mid 30s today, so it's going to be a warm day. But there is a breeze. But I think the muff is taking away a lot of that breeze, which is good. But Nev, good to see you here. You made the trek across.
You. Yeah, always a bit of a challenge parking here. Lots of traffic, lots of traffic management systems, but we got in eventually. But yeah, you don't want to be in a rush. to come here to use.
No, that's one thing you don't have to. Yeah, definitely not.
Come early is the answer, isn't it?
That is right. Yeah, which a lot of people did this year.
Yeah, they did. Anyway, it looks like being a great day for flying. Nice bit of breeze straight down the runway, so that's quite nice too. Hopefully meeting up with some listeners during the course of the next few hours, and we've come early mainly before it gets too hot as well, because after about 3 it's absolutely scorching, but already we've had a bacon roll.
We have sampled the bacon rolls here. You can probably see behind us here. We've had one of those already, but we're yet to sample the coffee, Nev.
Yeah, it wasn't open.
Open.
Can you believe it? Honestly. Anyway, but we're going to get a coffee in a minute, that's the main thing. But so we'll see how we get on with interviews and talking to people today. Looking forward for another great day at Duxford. It's always a good day out here, isn't it?
It's always a good day, yeah. I was trying to think on the way here, Nev, I was sort of thinking how many years we've been coming to the air show here at Duxford every year. It must be probably the last sort of 5 or 6 years we've been coming back here now, isn't it? So.
And we've been very lucky with the weather for the most part. Just on one occasion we had a little bit of rain. Was it last year? I think it was
the year before, was it?
Year before, you're right. But no, it was very, very good. But yeah, it's going to be well up into the 30s today, and the weather's going to break probably at the end of the show. They're talking about some thunderstorms and stuff like that. But it's the UK, so you're never quite sure what weather you're going to get. So yeah.
The flight line's looking packed. Sally B is literally just behind, or in front of us there, behind what you guys are looking there now. You've got some awesome planes. There's Pitts Special across there, the red and white one I can just see there. A couple of Pitts actually. There's a nice red and yellow one just over there. And then we've got the 2 wing walker planes, Nev. The red and the blue checkered ones across there. I think they're going to be doing some wing walking
I'm surprised that my phone hasn't rung with people asking me to do it. Maybe it's a weight and balance issue they might have.
Shouldn't have had that bacon roll, Nev.
No. I would not be doing that, by the way. I don't mind, I wouldn't be keen on jumping out. I wouldn't be keen on doing parachute jumping. But if I was forced to do it, I might do it. But wing walking, forget it. That is not my idea of a good time at all.
I think the bugs would be an issue now, especially, I left this morning with a windscreen that was spotlessly clean, and I got here to Duxford, and it looks like a killing zone.
Yes, it is. There's a lot of it about at the moment. But anyways, I shan't be doing that. It's academic. So yeah. So if anybody's thinking about buying a present for me for my birthday, don't do that. Don't buy that one, because I shan't be doing it.
Well, we've got lots to hopefully see and do here today, and as we said, the sun is shining. It's going to be a gloriously hot day today. Nev's got his suntan lotion on. I will just point out he's well slathered up with suntan lotion. Good to see that, Nev, because we don't want another Dubai.
Yeah, I mean that the Dubai incident, as it's now called, that was pretty hot, and even first thing in the morning you'd get burnt there. But actually, it's very high UV level and very high pollen levels as well today. So the sneezing will begin at some point as well, I'm sure.
Right, Nev, I suppose we better go and do some of what we do.
Yeah, let's do that. But we'll start off with a coffee first of all, I think.
Yes, we'll start off with a coffee,
and then we'll go and show the folks some planes.
Yeah, let's do it. So we're here at the hangar at the Duxford Imperial War Museum for the air show here. I'm with Tegan. Hello, welcome onto the show.
Hello, thank you very much.
So Tegan, tell us a bit about yourself. What do you do here at Duxford?
So I was the operations manager for Vintage Flying. We kind of flew loads of Tiger Moths and did experience flights. And then I'd also come down here with the same people, volunteering, helping with the air shows. We've got our Fokker DR1 here, the triplane, and our D7 here. So I'm air crew when they're flying, so when they go out I kind of help get them started, all of that sort of stuff. I coordinate all the people here, make sure everyone's doing the right thing. And then I've also helped do a lot of the annuals on these two, and then paperwork for getting this one approved. So I've been about doing bits and bobs for a few years. Lots of good fun, lots of good experiences and stuff.
So Tegan, tell us a bit about the aircraft that's just off to our left here.
So this is a replica Fokker DR1. It's to scale. I think it took like 10 or 12 years to build. It's airworthy, so it flies in the air shows. It's just not flying in this one because it's quite hot. It's not actually a radial engine. Those are kind of fake bits at the bottom to make it look like one. So Paul flies this one in the air shows, and we go out and kind of help set it all up and make sure it's all ready to go.
Yeah, most people kind of associate things with kind of a biplane, but this is a triplane.
It is
it's
indeed.
Three
wings. Yes, tridecker.
Have you been up in this yourself?
I haven't, no, because it's only a single-seater, so, you know, a bit too much responsibility for me. So.
But it looks stunning. It looks absolutely awesome. And it also look very new.
Yes, no, we make sure we keep it nice and clean, you know, get all the dust off it, and it's well maintained. You know, we come down here frequently to kind of do maintenance and make sure everything's, you know, checked out. It's all airworthy, but it's kept inside in the hangar, so it doesn't get weathered or anything. So it is in very good nick.
So are these based at Duxford here?
Yes, yeah. So these ones stay here. This one's kind of only come down like semi-recently, kind of in the last year. So this one was at Derby. That's kind of where we were building it there. And then we brought it down on 2 lorries. So we had the fuselage on 1 lorry and then the wings in the other one. Stressful journey with this because we couldn't close the size of the lorry that the fuselage was in because it was too wide. And then kind of had to like high up like the big forklift thingies to kind of lift the wing on. So that was quite a tense day, making sure that everything was aligned. But now this one is based here.
Yeah, because someone just told me that this is literally built from scratch.
Yes, yeah.
That must have took a while.
Plans. Yes, yeah. So it's been made from plans. Then various things have changed. So it's like the engine's been inverted. So in the original, the engine was inverted anyway. We've re-inverted it. So the engine's the right way up, but for this type of aircraft, it's upside down, if that makes any sense. So there's a lot of work to do to kind of like get the oil going the right way, so oil pumps and stuff, lots of weight and balances, lots of paperwork, which was my job, all the paperwork and stuff. So it's kind of on its final stretch now, inspections, final tweak, so hopefully we'll see it up in the air soon.
So hopefully next year at Duxford for the air show you'll be...
We're hoping so, because that would be good,
yeah,
to have them both up together.
And the paint job, I have to ask, who chose the paint colours?
It was Paul's wife Sarah picked it because it's fab. You know, it's
It
so
stands
colourful.
out.
It does.
Yeah.
But it actually is like a colour scheme that was used, and it's surprisingly effective because you think, oh, purple, like how camouflaged is that? But you see pictures of them over like agricultural fields, and it really blends in. They're really hard to spot, and it just looks brilliant. But it was all kind of hand painted on. So you get it on a fabric. So you don't have to paint it yourself, but that fabric's like really expensive. So it's all hand painted. I think they did a very good job of that.
Excellent. So is this a twin seat or is this a single seat?
Single seater. They're both single seater aircraft, so I'm not going to get a go in this one, unfortunately, unless I put some very hard work in, get my hours up. But no, so it'll be Paul flying this one, and then I think Tom, who's the airfield director, will be flying this one. I'm not sure what their plan is, but hopefully we'll get them both up at the same time, so that'll be a sight.
So Vulture Squadron, tell me a bit about that.
Yes, so this is the crew here. This is a caricature done by Phil, who's just over there, of the triplane. So this is kind of the display crew with our aircraft. We used to have an SE5A as well, so they go out together. We've sold that one very recently, so we're just down to these two. Two very good aircraft though, so you know, it's not exactly a big loss. But yes, we've got all our volunteers that help out, you know, make these days possible. Everyone has a good time. We get to tell people about aircraft, get them sit in it, take lots of pictures, and it's just a good day all around, really.
I think a lot of our listeners will probably agree that you've got quite a nice job because you get to be here at Duxford.
Yeah.
You get to be in this hangar, which is, you know, it's quite a very iconic part of Duxford. This hangar with these aircraft.
Yeah.
I'm guessing you enjoy your job.
I do indeed. I've met a lot of wonderful people doing this. You know, done so many things that, you know, a lot of people haven't. So now I'm very aware of how fortunate I am, and I do have a good time.
Sort of, what words of wisdom would you give to the kind of younger listeners who might want to try and do what you do here with these aircraft?
Come up and ask. And that's how we've got most of our young volunteers. So we've got 16-year-olds, you know, up to 18. We've had younger before, you know, because Aurora started when she was like 12, I think. So just come and ask, you know, if you're eager to help and you're interested, why not? You know, if you don't ask, you don't get. I think we're a lovely bunch, we're very welcoming, so if anybody wants to come and help, they're more than welcome to.
I'm guessing it starts with washing the aircraft and then you progress to you know, bigger things.
Exactly, yeah. Starts with just a cloth and a rag, wiping it down, dusting it, and then as you build up, you know, the trust. Obviously they're expensive aircraft, you don't want to just let anybody at them. but no, you can kind of help out, do whatever, learn new things. So it's pretty good.
Tegan, before we wrap up, just a question. Now we're going to ask, we always ask everyone we chat to on the show. If I know you've done a bit of flying yourself, so if you were given a chance to go out on the flight line now at Duxford, given a chance or choice of any aircraft, be it retired or flying still, commercial, military, GA, whatever, you could just jump straight out there now and jump in and have a fly around the circuit here at Duxford, what would that be?
Do I have to pick one?
You can have two.
I have two. I really like the Catalina. I think that's pretty fab. And then it would have to be like the Lancaster or the B-17. I think that's just so iconic. You know, if I ever had the opportunity, I would drop everything immediately. Absolutely.
I'm sure you could go and speak to the guys over at the Sally B and...
Yeah, going us very nicely.
Well, Tegan, where can people find out more about Venture Squadron? Vulture Squadron, I should say.
Well, come down, have a chat. You know, we're kind of the aircraft are always based here. We're not always here just at air shows. You know, we're always kind of tinkering around, doing bits and bobs. So if you see us, come and say hello.
Are you online as well?
I believe Paul's got like a Facebook page. I think we're on Instagram as well. And we kind of post when we've been flying and stuff.
Excellent.
So, yeah.
Well, thanks for your time. It's been lovely to talk to you.
And you.
And enjoy the rest of the very nice day here at Duxford.
Sunny day, yes. Yeah, I'm hoping I don't get sunburnt.
Sun cream, that's the way forward.
Indeed.
Well, lovely to talk to you, Tegan, and have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I have to say the old Catalina is a popular choice, actually, isn't it, for the sort of like plane they'd love to sort of fly.
It's such an I'll say iconic. It's one of those aircraft that never gets missed at air shows, and we're lucky to have Miss Pickup, which she's called at Duxford, based at Duxford, the PBY Catalina.
Yeah,
but didn't see her flying this year though, Nev.
No,
not at the air show, but yeah, she is based there at Duxford. But it's a great little thing there that they've got going there at the Vulture Squadron. You know, get the youngsters involved in aviation and playing around with what are very old aircraft. You know, these this one of the ones they've built there is brand new, but based on very old aircraft. These are, but it's good to get a bit of history with the youngsters in
it is, and that's hopefully what inspires people to go into commercial or military aviation, doesn't it? You know, whether it's ground crew or ultimately to be a cabin crew or pilot or whatever. These sorts of initiatives are really important. So I think it's a great opportunity for youngsters to start to get their hands dirty on the real aircraft.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they are on Facebook. If you want to give them a look, they've got a Facebook page. It's if you look on Facebook, it's Vulture Squadron at Jasta. That's Jasta. Jasta Binks Aviation. So that's Vulture Squadron at Jasta Binks Aviation. Give them a look on there. You'll see some great pictures on there of the aircraft and also from Duxford as well at the weekend. So there we go. Right, time for some of that beautiful grey stuff that Nev loves.
What's up, Bogies 13550, Angel 16, heading 340. Okay. 100 St. Bogies.
In the military comes from TWZ.com. Airbus A321, yes, you heard me right, airliner to be modified into flying frigate patrol jet by France. So Airbus Defence and Space has begun a risk assessment study for France's future maritime patrol aircraft, or MPA, to be based on an Airbus A321 airliner platform. Billed as the Flying Frigate by the new company, the MPA is intended to replace the French Navy's Dassault Atlantique II fleet, but emerges at a time when NATO nations are increasingly adopting in production Poseidon P-8s for their maritime patrol requirements. Airbus announced this week a contract for further risk reduction studies of the new maritime patrol aircraft. The contract was awarded by the Direction Générale d'Armement, DGA, France's defence procurement agency, with Airbus Defence and Space as prime contractor in partnership with European Defence Corporation Thales. The contract runs for 2 years and follows a previous architecture and feasibility study launched at the end of 2022. The latest contract is intended to prepare for the full-scale development of a new MPA that could be start at the end of 2026 and followed by the production launch. And it will be the first it will involve first wind tunnel tests as they work out technical specifications so the various onboard systems can be chosen. It will also look at the economic and industrial conditions involved in the program. And significantly, the latest study specifies a maritime patrol variant of the A321 XLR airliner known as the A321 MPA. The earliest studies have looked at building an MPA version of either an unspecified version of the A320 family or the Dassault Falcon 10X business jet. While Airbus has considered the shorter A320neo as a potential platform for a new MPA, the longer fuselage of the A321 means that it can accommodate additional fuel and a larger payload bay, as well as having an increased capacity for sensors and other mission systems. The basic A321 XLR airliner has a range of 4,700 nautical miles, which is around 5,400 miles. So interesting, Nev, because obviously the Poseidon, the P8 Poseidon, which is based on the 737, is obviously a popular maritime patrol aircraft with many countries, including us here in the UK. But obviously the French have decided that it's probably, I'd imagine, cost comes into this quite heavily in regards to,
Well, yeah, and also perhaps crews as well that are looking to transition from, the commercial world to the military, perhaps, or vice versa. If they've got something which is based on an A321, they might have a larger pool of crews to choose from, possibly. Don't know, but no, it's good that they're keeping the thing going in terms of how they're using it. Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. Darren Smith in the chat room says that did anyone see the lineup of government aircraft parked at Schiphol yesterday for the NATO summit? 95%, Darren says, were Airbus aircraft.
Well, there we are.
There we are. Right, Nev, you've got the next one, and I think Mr. Warner, this will excite him, I think, this one.
I think he'll be pleased with this story, definitely. Yes, it's on the nationalinterest.org. It says Boeing has delivered its final C-17 Globemaster III, nearly a decade after 279 four-engine strategic airlifters were produced. However, the aerospace firm continues to support the current fleet and may soon resume manufacturing the aircraft. Speaking at this month's Paris Air Show, Boeing Global Services VP Torbjorn Sjögren told reporters that whilst Boeing doesn't have manufacturing capabilities for the C-17, it doesn't have a planned replacement. Yet Shepherd Media first reported that it had received interest from countries that failed to secure orders before the production lines closed. In addition to the US Air Force, which operates 223 of the aircraft from 12 different bases around the world, the Globemaster III is in service with the RAF, the Royal Australian Air Force, the Royal Canadian Air Force, the Indian Air Force, the Qatari Emiri Air Force, the UAE Air Force, the Kuwait Air Force, and the NATO Strategic Airlift Capability. The latter are based in Papa in Hungary, and 12 participating NATO members manage all three. Well, the aircraft, which made its maiden flight in September 1991, has a maximum payload of 100,000 pounds and a range of more than 4,500 nautical miles. It can also operate from unimproved runways as short as 3,500 feet and just 90 feet wide, and carry an M1 Abrams main battle tank. Competing aircraft, including the Airbus A400M, Embraer C390 Millennium and Kawasaki C2, cannot perform that task. This isn't just a case of demand outpacing supply. Countries are expressing interest, but none are being made. Boeing didn't disclose which countries might be interested in the Globemaster III, but Japan had expressed a desire to buy at least one C-17. You might have to put an order for more than one for them to restart production, I would say. But I couldn't believe that it was 1991 when it first flew, this aircraft. Amazing.
Yeah. We, if you cast your minds back to 2017, when we were at the Wings of a Pittsburgh Air Show, there was a few C-17s there when we were there on the base, which was quite interesting. So they are huge aircraft, these are. Oh, yes. And as Sturman in the chat room will know, where we live in this area of the UK, as well as Matt as well, we get to see the C-17s, and trust me, you can see them when they fly over at about 4,000 feet. Even at 4,000 feet, they are still huge aircraft, these are. But yeah, be interesting to see if they do restart the production line, because I'm sure they may well have thrown away a few jigs or something there. You never know.
Well, yeah, quite.
Never know. Right, now, next part of the show, got a very special bit for you here. Nev, this is something you found which I think is very interesting.
Well, as I'm retired now, I've got more time to browse the internet, and I'm surprised I hadn't come across this fella previously. It's a chap called Pete the Irish Pilot, and he's got a really good YouTube channel, which some of you might have already seen. He's got nearly 47,000 subscribers, and he's uploaded 634 videos to it. Anyway, Pete is ex-Virgin Atlantic and ex-military as well, and I was in contact with him this week as I saw a rather good interview that he did with Ady Dolan, who's up at the London Heathrow Tower for Nats, as some of you may know. Really good interview with Ady, I think he did, but also I thought I'd ask him whether we could show a bit of a clip from it, which he's very kindly agreed to do. So this is a 2-minute clip of Pete's interview with Ady.
Talking about was coming into the air traffic control tower at London Heathrow. It's attached to the end of the pier on Terminal 3, and I'm here in the simulator room, just underneath the epicenter of all things air traffic control at the top of the tower. I'm joined here by Ady Dolan, god of the air traffic control world, whom I'm sure you've seen before on the television. Ady is a top man. He's also top of the pile here. He's the head of training, and he checks out people, trains the new people, and indeed works a shift himself. He's on the roster, so he's no slouch and has all the credibility in the world. Hello, Ady. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you, Pete.
An absolute pleasure. What a place. I have to pinch myself and look out here in what was the old Lima cul-de-sac that I used to come and park in, amongst other areas when I was here. Not a lot changed in some regards, but obviously in terms of air traffic control tower, it has. You started in the old one, and here we are in the new one. Just tell us a little bit about what we've got here and the room we're in. It looks like we're in the top of the tower, but actually we're not.
No, we're not. We are in our simulator, which is in the base of our control tower. And just going back on what you said there around about the change in air traffic control over the last 25 years, yes, there's an awful lot of technology. We've got some fantastic kit here that can augment what we do and assist us and make the controller's decisions slightly easier to make. But the human is still at the center of that operation, and the decision making rests with that person. So getting those people, giving them the skills that they need to do the task is really, really important. So that's why this room is really, really important, because they come into the control tower fresh out of our college with a fresh yellow license, and they have to then apply that as a Heathrow air traffic controller. So we give them a really good grounding in here first, so that they can understand the workings of the airport, understand the geography, what the different positions mean and do, before they then go and do it and attack it in a live environment.
Great interview. I
thought that was brilliant, actually. And Pete is such a funny chap. He's got a real sense of humour. So if you want to subscribe to Pete's channel, just go to youtube.com and look for Pete the Irish Pilot. You'll be able to see that interview in full. On Instagram, he's Pete at Pete the Irish Pilot, and on X, he's Pete Irish Pilot. But have a look at some of the stuff he's done, and it's very entertaining, I must say. It's the first time I've seen his content, and Pete very kindly gave us permission to use this clip of this interview with Ady today. Of course, we've already done a film in that simulator with Pip, few years ago, soon after it was installed, actually. So I'm familiar with that piece of equipment very well, very much. And so, but no, it's great. So yeah, if you have a chance to look up Pete the Irish Pilot on YouTube, you will not be disappointed, I'm sure.
Yeah, he's also on Instagram as well, and he does some very amusing videos on Instagram where he kind of rates or berates. I don't want to say
bit of both.
Bit of both. Various landings and stuff. So it's well worth a follow on there as well if you don't already follow him. But no, thanks for popping that in, Nev. Good to see that. Was very good. That was indeed. Right, so we have still got some air shows that hopefully, all being well, will be attending this year. Nev, where are we off to for 2025?
Well, the next air show that we're planning to do is on Saturday, July the 26th at Shuttleworth. Gates open there at 9 o'clock. And the first flying begins at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, with a second flying display starting at 7:30 in the evening. Gates close at 9 o'clock in the evening. Pricing for that air show, £42 for adults, £32 if you're a member at Shuttleworth, and children can go free. I would imagine, though, they have to be accompanied by an adult. And that's, of course, assuming Carlos isn't moving house during that time. So it's a bit hit or miss at the moment, but we'll see how we go.
Whatever you see.
That's the plan anyway. So, and don't forget, of course, the big one we're doing is the Bray Air Display just south of Dublin in the Republic of Ireland, and that's the display itself is the biggest free event in Ireland, and if you just go to their website, which is brayair.display.com, you'll see all the details there. Car parking is €12, and you must have a car parking permit in order to park your car on site. They've just started to release some more information about that today, in fact. Then on Saturday the 30th of August, we're going to be at Beccles for the PTUK Summer Meetup. Woo! Plans are afoot for that, and we'll give you more details when we have them. And we'll be there for a spot of lunch, obviously, and we can watch the GA world go by, because it's a great airfield, great hospitality, and run by a great bunch of folks, isn't it?
Yeah, and hopefully if the weather's nice, there'll be lots of people jumping out of aircraft with a parachute, obviously.
Well, quite, yes.
Yeah, which is always good. But excellent lineup there. Jonathan Warner's said hopefully he's going to be at Shuttleworth this year. He's tempted to go to this weekend show as well. Blimey. Have you got enough memory cards, Mr. Warner?
No.
I suppose he probably has, knowing him.
He'll buy some.
Right, social media links, Nev. Where can our listeners find us online?
Yeah, have a look for Plain Talking UK on Facebook, X or Instagram. You can email the show, podcast@plaintalkinguk.com, and the website is plaintalkinguk.com also. The WhatsApp number for you to send in your photos or comments is +44 7446 975 214. That's +44 7446 975 214. You can subscribe, of course, to our YouTube channel. You'll get notifications when we go live, and you can help shape the conversation of the show by joining us in the chat room, as many people have done this evening, and thank you very much for doing that. Just go to youtube.com and search for Plain Talking UK. Well, the reason we can do these air shows and keep the whole thing on the air is because of your very kind assistance that we get from Patreon and PayPal donators. If you'd like to assist us and you're able to, just go to the website, and all the details are on the front page there.
There we go. Right, quick round robin to see what all the team are up to this week. Obviously, hopefully we'll have Andy back next week with us, all being well. As we said, it is his birthday today, so happy birthday to Captain Andy from all of us here at the show, and I'm sure all the chat room as well wish him a happy birthday. But so Nev, what are you up to next week? Anything good?
Well, nothing too major, actually. Having been rather busy over the last sort of week and a half or so. Be doing a bit more editing. We've got some more Duxford things to play out as well. But no, not actually going anywhere apart from a bit of keep fit and a bit of swimming and a bit of walking and trying to lose some of that weight. And some of it's coming off, but those burgers and chips and bacon rolls have not helped.
I blame Carl.
Sorry.
There we are. Never mind. It's my own fault. I could have just said, "Oh, it's okay, Carl. I'll have a piece of cucumber."
Cucumber? Have you lost your mind?
I know.
We did, to be fair, we did drink a lot of bottled water.
Well, we must have gone through 5. Well, I bought 5 or 6, and you bought half a dozen as well, didn't you? So we were well hydrated by the end of that, I must say. And I'm glad we made the decision to do that, because that would have been quite difficult otherwise. But no, looking forward to bringing you more Duxford content in next week's show.
Mr. Smith, anything exciting going on?
It's Armed Forces Day in Dis on Saturday. So, and Park Radio are very much involved in that. So I shall be doing my show from the Dis studio and then heading off to that straight away. So I'm pressing all the buttons and faders for that, which I'm looking forward to. There's a great, there's 4 wonderful ladies who come. They're called the Station 366 singers, and they're going to be performing for a couple of hours. And I love stuff like that, the whole sort of 1940s, and their proper a cappella and everything is utterly brilliant. So really looking forward to that, providing I can make them sound fabulous, of course, which I'm sure I will. And but that's about it really. Oh, and lunch with somebody who used to be in EastEnders on Sunday.
I know who that is.
Yeah. But other than that, just very chilled weekend.
Excellent. I'm back on the radio this weekend after being off for 3 weeks, which is rather
3 weeks. It's been
rather exciting. Looking back to getting back.
Yeah, you've been missed.
I know it's funny, you do these things on just a weekly basis. Obviously, Matt does about 7,000 shows a week.
Not by choice, I should stress.
But it does. It's weird when you kind of miss it. You do miss it. I do miss it.
Although you are stressed about this week, aren't you?
Back on the show.
Matt's made some technical changes.
Oh, blimey!
It's very simple. All it means is he gets the IRN news come to his studio, but that for some reason is
moving swiftly on,
tripping him out for some reason. Not quite sure why.
And I shall
improvements, dear. Things have to evolve.
Nursing this bite that I've achieved this week in the garden here. For anyone in the UK who's cutting your lawn, honestly, wear trousers.
I'd say
socks,
Carlos is going to wear a hazmat suit going forward, I think.
I will be wearing a full hazmat suit when I cut the grass and cut the lawn next time.
Yeah, that'll be very attractive, I'm sure.
Honestly,
Gemma will not be able to leave you alone.
It looks like I've been bitten by, a great white.
I think you're exaggerating a little tiny bit.
My idea of a great white is a Pinot Grigio.
Absolutely. Now, Nev, I have a controversial question. Lump of ice or not?
Oh, definitely not. No.
Okay. Oh, right. Okay.
I mean, it's already only 10.5% or 11% as it is.
Okay.
So no, but highly chilled in the fridge or freezer.
Okay, fair enough. Oh, in the freezer. Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah.
So fair.
Right. Just reading the comments.
Carlos is actually shocked.
Anyway, that is where we're going to bring episode 557 to a close. Big thanks to all the chat room this week for joining us in there. Thank you to you, one and all, for joining us on this Wednesday evening. Also, thank you to everyone who downloads the show as well, including you, James. I know you'll hopefully be listening to this episode of the show. So, thank you for downloading us. We'd love to hear from you, so don't forget that feedback. If you want to email us in, podcast@planetalkinguk.com is that email address. We'll be back next Wednesday, 7 p.m. here on YouTube, all being well, with a full team, fingers crossed. So from me, Carlos, here in the home studio, from Matt in the PTUK Master Suite Studios, and from Nev in his home studios. Have a great rest of the week. Have a great weekend. And we'll see you next Wednesday. Say goodbye, Nev.
Yeah, take care, folks. See you next week. Bye.
I do love the chat room.
They're the best bit of the show,
we
without
do.
question.
Yes.
They are so good.
A bit of additional news, which I forgot to mention on the main show, is that, of course, we've got Oshkosh coming up in about a month's time. We're not going this year because it's a bit expensive. And, one has to be frugal when one is retired.
True.
However, the intrepid reporter, Captain Al, is going to be reporting from Oshkosh on our behalf. So I'm going to meet up with him soon, probably at a hotel somewhere in Luton, to hand him over some broadcast audio recording kit so he can do that for us, which would be great. And I'm also hoping that he'll come on the show fairly soon when his schedule allows, where he can tell us all about the A321 XLR acceptance flight that he took from Hamburg back to Luton or Gatwick. I think it was Luton it came into originally. So that will be very interesting. So stand by for that one. So we'll catch up with him soon, either on a live on a Wednesday, or we'll do a pre-recorded interview with him about that. But yeah, he's very kindly offered to do some reporting for us from Oshkosh in a month's time. So
can't wait.
We'll hear more from him then.
Yes,
it's going to be great.
Looking forward to that, and it is a long way,
isn't it?
long way away as well. Oshkosh, or long distance away, I should say. It's only just round.
And there's lots of tents. This is a fabric I'm not familiar with.
Yes.
No aircon in there,
Nev.
Nev.
Does it say Hilton on the front, or IHG, or
no? Do you know? I thought you were a Premier Inn man.
Well, yes. I don't think they've got them in at Oshkosh, though.
I stayed in a Premier Inn in Dubai, and it was bloody lovely.
Yeah,
no, they are. They are
very good.
there. No, I agree. In fact, the standard there is much better, one might say, than in the UK. Perhaps.
And weirdly, that was the cheapest part of my visit.
Interesting.
Premier Inn.
Well, the holiday inn at Gatwick we're staying at in August, Nev, is nice. Me and Gemma stayed there a few weeks ago. That we booked into the IHG one.
Oh yes,
in
very good.
Yeah,
Are you away?
rooms are nice.
Yeah, the Holiday Inn and that all business has improved a lot, hasn't it, over the years? And in fact, the whole things like the Holiday Inn Express, if you wanted a slightly smaller hotel, they're really good as well, actually.
I sorted out car parking today for Dublin for Stansted, for the air show, Bray, for parking in the orange zone at Stansted, because it's just nice. Me and Matt parked there before you just walk out of your car and straight in the terminal. But they don't know how to charge, and I got a discount.
Yeah.
And it was still, it was. I didn't see a lot of change out of 80 quid.
Ooh, cheeky.
For
mind you, you have been getting discounts, haven't you, on food and beverages at the air show?
Oh, dare we say it? We are live, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
I went to get me and Nev our dinner on Saturday at the air show, and our burger and fries, which was actually quite nice. With and I had our PTUK identification, lanyard and stuff on, as we do, and went to pay for the bill, and she went, "Oh, you're working at the air show." Yeah, and I mean, technically,
oh no,
we were.
Oh, Mr. Bounds, do you, like me, basically sort of crawl up into a painful ball when stuff like this happens?
Well, it gives him 10% off at Cafe Nero.
I shall never forget that. I shall never ever forget or forgive that, frankly. Especially when somebody who did actually work at the airport who stood next to him was then denied because they didn't think their pass was genuine.
Yeah, that was so good.
And also, one of the, I won't say who we were interviewing, but we went up to somebody at Duxford and we had to get permission. And they go, "Well, you are official, aren't you?" I'm going, "Obviously. We've got the badge. We've got a camera and a bloody great tripod and a fluffy mic. What do you need?" So, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I'd like to thank Duxford's press and media team for being so helpful. I'd like to,
Right. Yeah.
But you'd be waiting 3
if you ever
years
hear
for a
from
reply,
them,
Nev.
They don't know how to reply to an email.
Do you know that's the thing, right? This is one of the things that annoys me so much about it because, with respect, I know I work in an industry where we get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of emails a day, and I'm pretty sure their media team is not getting hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of emails a day. If they have, then they've got something wrong with their spam settings, and it really winds me up that people just don't have the courtesy to even bother responding. It is the rudest thing that you could possibly do in my eyes. Even if it's a thanks but no thanks, at least have the courtesy to reply and not just ignore the email. I mean, it's just outrageous. I think, anyway. Perhaps I'm in a minority. I'll shut up.
No, it is.
It's just common courtesy.
I think the thing that frustrated me and Nev the most is when we look back at the Dubai Air Show when we went a few years back now. They couldn't do enough. Everything was seamless. They were throwing, and like when we done Biggin Hill.
Oh, that was a wonderful
honestly,
show,
we had more red carpets rolled out in front of us than
and I mean, you guys went airside and got to grab some great interviews and stuff.
Yeah.
And all it, just a bit of common decency, isn't it? And just a couple of responses to the emails and all that kind of thing. And again, with the greatest of respect, I know it was a no from like Riyadh, for example, but at least they reply.
Also, a big shout out to the folks at the Jersey Air Show as well, because they couldn't have been more accommodating. Jonathan and Mike and the team got us airside over at the airport there.
It really upsets me because I love Duxford. I absolutely love Duxford, and it's just like, but honestly,
I think the issue is, I'm not going to be political, but I think the issue is unless you're paying 10 grand to be there, you're no one.
Yeah.
If it was me, if I was running a good sized air show in the UK and someone came up to me and said, "We're going to give you loads of promotion free of charge, don't cost you a penny, you ain't got to do anything, we'll do it all for your air show," I'd probably say yes, please. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Just me. Yeah.
Anyway,
we'll stop grumbling. That's the moan over. I'm going to go off now and have some food because I'm absolutely Hank Marvin. I could.
Very good.
Yeah, I think the amount of pills that I've taken today, all being antihistamines and paracetamol and the usual ones that I take for various ailments and stuff, I think are catching up with me.
Nice. Okay. Good luck with that.
But anyway, less about our ailments.
We'll be worrying Mazouz again.
Oh, bless him. Right, we will say goodbye to our lovely chat room team members now, all the glorious people in there. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning in tonight, because most of them are still in the chat room, actually.
I know.
On it, good you lot. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you very much indeed. We do appreciate it every week on the show. And thanks as well to all the team, as always, for being awesome. So, yeah. But, Nev, would you like to say good night to our lovely chat room?
Yeah, thank you very much indeed for joining us this evening. Really enjoyed your contributions, as always, in the chat room. And thanks very much indeed for continuing to support us. It really does mean a lot. Hope you have a nice weekend and the remainder of this week and next week. We'll see you back on Wednesday at 7 o'clock, usual time. In the meantime, bye for now.